today. I don't know why I said y'all, but it sounded fun. Y'all. Anyway, we're going to sing, so would you like to stand and join us? It's called Walk Down This Road. Share your love of God with me. Come on and share your love of God with me. And we'll get there when we're there. Come on and walk down this road with me. Come on and walk down this road with me. Come on and walk down this road with me. And we'll get there when we're there. And we'll get there when we're there. And we'll get there when we're there. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the last Sunday service in January. The month has flown by. I am Amber Boren, the assistant minister here at Unity, and we thank you all for being here with us today. And not just for those of you who are here in the seats, but also those of you who are watching from online at home. Thank you for sharing your energy here with us. Thank you, Jim. So everyone at home just got to see me go. Welcome to everyone. At Unity, we strive to live, love, and uplift lives. We are an inclusive and affirming church. We bless people of all races, sexual orientations, colors, political, or spiritual beliefs, or really anything that you may have been judged on. We just simply welcome everyone, no matter where you are on your spiritual journey. If you'll join me now in an opening prayer. So let's just breathe and tap into our sacred breath. The breath that connects us to the very present moment. Right now on our planet, there are many of our human brothers and sisters who are suffering. And right now, I'd like to ask all of you to tap in to your divine healing energy. Call it in. Ask God to bring that healing energy into your body, into your being. And allow that healing light to fill every cell of your being. Allow it to fill your mental field. The healing energy fills your emotional field. And the healing energy spreads throughout your physical human body. And I want you to take this healing energy now and see it like the roots of a tree, spreading out to all others
who are not just in this room, but all those in our community. And we send this healing love, this healing light to those who might be battling illness or sickness or disease or injury. We see them whole and healed. We send loving, healing energy out to those who might be suffering from natural disaster or man-made disasters. We simply bless everyone with the healing light and love of the divine. I'll ask you to take just one more big deep breath in and exhale into peace. Thank you, God. Thank you. And so it is. Amen. So today, our daily word is going to be read by Scott Hickson. Scott? There
he is. Morning. You know all, it's not just the daily word. It's the daily joke. So I found one this morning that I thought was very appropriate because I see this happen all the time. A man was being tailgated by a stressed out woman on a busy boulevard. Suddenly the light turned yellow just in front of him, and he did the right thing. He stopped at the crosswalk, even though he could have beaten the red light by accelerating through the intersection. The tailgating woman was so furious that she honked her horn, was screaming in frustration as she missed her chance to get through the intersection, dropping her cell phone and her makeup. As she was still in mid-rant, she heard a tapping on the window and looked up and saw the face of a very serious police officer. The officer ordered to exit the car with her hands up. He took her to the police station where she was searched, fingerprinted, photographed, and placed in a holding cell. A couple of hours later, the policeman approached the cell and opened the door. She was escorted back to the booking desk where the arresting officer was waiting with her personal effects. He said, "I'm very sorry for the mistake. You see, I pulled up behind you, pulled up behind your car. You were blowing your horn, flipping off the guy in front of you, and cussing a blue streak at him. I noticed what would Jesus do bumper sticker on the back of your car, the Choose Life license plate, Follow Me to Sunday School bumper sticker, and the chrome-plated Christian fish emblem on your trunk. Well, naturally, I thought the car was stolen." So, and the daily word is, I bless the earth with love and gratitude. What a brilliant miracle this earth is. In a delicate, intricate balance, this beautiful, majestic planet sustains itself and all the life in it. I show my reverence by loving and caring for my earth home. I take care to reduce my materials and resources, recycle what I can, and put items back into circulation instead of just throwing them away. I bless my earth home with prayers of healing and peace. I pray others around the world feel the same and join me in holding the health of our planet in prayer. I am grateful for this miraculous, marvelous planet I am blessed to call home. With love and gratitude, I commit to doing all I can to live gently upon the earth. And then the proverb is, you set the earth on its foundation so that it shall never be forsaken. Psalms 104, verse 5.
Thank you, Scott. Before I introduce our speaker for today, we are having a Love Connections event in February, and we have a clipboard here. If you're interested in attending the event, we're just trying to get an idea of how many to expect. I know there'll be games and music, dancing, desserts, sparkling apple cider, champagne, and lots more. So I'm going to pass this around if you're interested. You do not have to attend with a partner because it's about honoring all of our connections with love. So friendship, I don't know if we can bring animals, but, but come celebrate love with us. Today, our guest speaker is a fellow spiritual philosopher. He is the author of Every Day is a High Holy Day, Stories of an Adventuring Spirit. And I'm very excited and honored to introduce the wonderful Ernie Hawks.
Thank you. I'm going to start today with a guided meditation that I learned from my dear friend, Reverend Michael Moran, who died last March. And I've kind of made it my own meditation, but it's his idea. So if everyone would take a deep breath and go within. Now place yourself someplace that's very comfortable, someplace you want to be, someplace that's very safe. Just be there. Be in the peace with that. Whether it's mountains or a beach someplace or grandma's house, someplace that's safe. Put yourself there. And get experience with that. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you hearing? What can you smell there? And as you experience it, realize you're not alone, that you're with another presence. Whether you call it God or Spirit or universal intelligence or indwelling peace, it's with you and envelops you, has an arm around you. And you're there enjoying this beautiful place, this place you want to be, that you like being, with this indwelling Spirit. And as you move around, you come across somebody else. And it's someone that you may have had an issue with, or there may still be an issue with them. But you notice they too are enveloped in the arms of Spirit. And so you look at them and you say, I forgive you. I release you. I love you. And you move on. And you let that go and you move on, and maybe you'll see an issue that is bothering you. And you'll see that it too is enveloped in Spirit, and you'll say to it, I release you. I let you go in love. As you keep moving on, you see different people. Some of them you know personally. Some you may know from various kinds of media. But each time you stop and you look at them, and you say, I forgive you. Now go in love, and I send you away in love. Finally, as you're walking, you'll see someone sitting, and you'll walk over to that person. You'll say, it too is enveloped in love, or peace, or God, or whatever you want. And as you look at this person, you see that you're looking at you. And you say to you, I forgive you. I love you. Thank you for who you are. I hold you in love. So let's take this thought and hold it in a minute or so of silence. As you move on through the world, forgiven, moving through a world of love, be with peace and be at peace as we move through. So be it.
Please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open wide, I am. Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open, I am. Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open, I am. Heart, please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open, I am. Please open wide, free the love I am inside. Heart, please open, I am.
So hi. I haven't done this for a long time. I haven't spoke here for over 5 years. I know that. So thanks for inviting me back. It's good to be back. I've got some old friends. I have some longtime friends in the bandstand. It's good to see you. Anyway, so several years ago, I was at speaking here, and the minister at the time was Reverend John Considine, and who I understand just passed a while back. Yeah, so hold him for a minute there. But anyway, John sent an email to all of the board members saying that he would be gone, that I would be speaking, and to please be here to support me. One of the board members wrote back saying, I'll be glad to be there to support Ernie on Sunday, unless the skiing looks good. I don't have any issue with that at all. I understand that completely. See, I often celebrate communion in the cathedral of the tamarack and the fir and the pine. The huge wooden columns will reach up nearly 100 feet sometimes to a ceiling of a sky that is blue or white or gray or a cloudy relief of all three. The floor is usually covered with a thick dark green moss or grasses or ferns that change color through the seasons and usually is blanketed with white during the winter. Oftentimes through the middle, a deep creek will babble towards some distant ocean as it cascades over rocks and bubbles under logs and splashes against the shore. It's creating a music that accompanies a choir of flickers, finches, and jays. So that's kind of church for me. That's why you may not see me here every Sunday. But as Amber said, I've written a few stories that have been published around, and so I brought a couple with me today, hopefully to kind of set our idea about intention, about being grateful, about celebrating. So the first one took place several years ago. I had been camping. I had spent the night camping. Actually, this one was gifted to me by the Canadian Rockies and the animals that live up there, a lot of the animals. So I'd spent the night camped on the Vermilion River in Kootenay National Park and was headed toward Jasper National Park. My search was to find and photograph caribou, and it was about to begin. I was excited. The season was mid-fall in October, and it was a solo trip for me. And as usual with a solo trip like that, I intended it to be a personal and spiritual growth time for me. I knew also that I would be in both grizzly and black bear country, and I hoped certainly that I would not have any encounter with either one. Several times during that previous summer, my late wife and I had seen signs of bear and tracks of bear in our yard in the woods out north of town here a ways. And one time when we were backpacking on an extended trip, we had a really close but very safe encounter with a black bear. And so with those experiences, it just affirmed with me the reason why I always need to be cautious as well as conscious that we share the same habitat. Now, in some cultures, some native cultures, bear represents introspection, sometimes called the dream time. With bear, we can feel a kinship because it's an omnivore as we are. It can stand and function on two legs as we do. We also think of bear when we think of hibernation, going within. And so with each bear encounter, I'm reminded of the importance of doing exactly that, of going within to that inner voice. So I was driving toward Vermilion Pass and the Continental Divide, and I kept seeing places that drew my attention and tried to ignore the invitations as I was in a rush to get farther north to see the caribou. Now, the Canadian Rockies, a lot of you have probably been there. The Canadian Rockies are full of beautiful, unique geological formations. And those park rangers up there have made a point of making sure that every traveler knows about every one of them. However, my single focus that day was to get farther north up into caribou country, and I did my best to pay no heed to them. But due to my morning cup of coffee, I stopped at a rest stop at Numa Falls. As I was walking back to my truck, the liquid voice of the nearby hydraulics on the falls was an invitation to take the short hike to the source of the falls. Now, waterfalls in these mountains happen way too frequently to be able to stop at all of them. But I was glad I surrendered this time. I'm glad I listened. There was a footbridge that crossed the narrow chasm where the stream dropped several feet. While standing on it, I felt the power of the water as it sanded out round, smooth bowls on the tops of the rocks in the bottom of the noisy cascade. It was a good place to take a respite from driving and to feel the soft, refreshing spray on my face. I was invigorated and refreshed by the strength and the gentleness of the water. When I got back to the truck, the biggest raven I've ever seen landed on the ground right beside me. Now, I know these big, black, mysterious birds are used to people and expect a handout, but this guy was really big. So I grabbed a camera and snapped off a few shots of him. And then I got ready to drive. Well, he hopped up on the hood expecting payment for the pictures he had allowed. I was entertained, but I started the engine and he flew. But I thought about raven medicine and wondered why it had been presented to me in such an in-your-face way. Again, in many native cultures, raven represents a heightened awareness and a greater understanding of our consciousness. It's sometimes called magic, sometimes called spirit, sometimes the voice within. Raven asks us to experience the transformation it brings to our multidimensional self. It also reminds us to reunite with the mysteries of the universe that can expel those inner demons that are within us sometimes. Even though the short trip was fascinating, I felt like I had wasted some time. However, while driving, I heard Raven say the intended use of this trip is a personal and spiritual journey. So listen to that inner voice. Is that some sort of lesson for me? Is my rush to reach a destination rather than being in the journey, some kind of inner demon? So then in a few miles, a sign beckoned to another roadside attraction, this time Marble Canyon. Has anybody else ever gone up this road? It's a beautiful drive. Yeah, I love it up there. This time was Marble Canyon. Now, in these rugged hills, beautiful dramatic canyons are as common as waterfalls, and they're often coupled together. But some mystery, possibly Raven, I felt the call strong, so I stopped again. Now, Marble Canyon is a short, deep slot created by Tucum Creek flowing through an ancient terminal moraine. It appears to be a deep crevice, but it's actually a gorge carved by years of aqua-colored glacial water, etching limestone and white dolomite, making it look like marble, thus the name, Marble Canyon. As I investigated the ravine, studying the secrets of the spray-shrouded slot, I saw boulders that had fallen and been wedged into the narrow crack, sometimes 100 feet from the bottom of the gorge. Vegetation fed by the fog of the torrents flowing below was growing on the top of them. And there were natural bridges that straddled the abyss, where the water had first flowed over the rock until the rasping of the glacial till in the surging icy melt excavated a channel under the lip, blasting out a hole, leaving the arch. Water is cleansing. It's powerful and subtle. Sometimes it's called a universal solvent. It can change a landscape in seconds, or it can spend thousands of years slowly, persistently trying to change a scene. It also feeds and nurtures the growth of all plants and animals. Water is a necessity of life, and it destroys it. It's a study in polarities. So for me, it's easier to be present when I'm in nature. My senses are drawn to the energy of the natural world. It's so much bigger than me, even bigger than my imagination, yet I'm still an integral part of it. So I often use these lessons to keep it all in perspective for me. Anyway, after hiking up and back on a trail that crisscrossed the ravine on footbridges for a couple of hours, I was back. And it felt good to have the fresh air in my lungs and enjoyed another exceptional geological experience. And I felt like I really wanted to get going and get moving on. Back on the road, there was light traffic, so while climbing beside the river toward the pass, I kept thinking about Jasper and getting to the caribou. I was getting excited about that, wondering why I'd been so easily distracted. However, it was still early and the light was still pretty good if another photo op presented itself. Along the road and near the top, I saw something crossing the yellow center line of the road, maybe a half mile or so ahead. I slowed a little, but kept going. My curiosity was becoming quite piqued. I rolled on, watching, wondering, until I was close enough to identify the grizzly bear angling across the road, looking directly at me. The sun was backlighting its long guard hairs, giving it that grizzled look in its name. It wasn't huge, but it was full grown for sure. I think it was probably a female. I stopped. She was looking through the windshield, it seemed like into me. And she continued walking for several more steps. Then she turned slightly and headed off the road to my right, allowing that distinct grizzly profile to be seen. You know, the shoulder hump, the dished line between the eyes and the nose. We continued to maintain eye contact until she had all but disappeared into the woody brush. I powered down the right side window, hoping to get a picture without getting out. But the foliage didn't allow a shot, so I cautiously got out on the left side, camera in hand, and leaned on the hood of the car where the raven had scolded me a little while before. She stopped and turned, looked my way for a moment, and then wandered toward the river. The brush nearly concealed her, and I could only see movement through the branches. Then she stood up, stood tall enough to look at me again. I think she wanted to see if I was still watching. Still, it wasn't a clear shot, even when I manually focused the camera. So I sat and waited. I was thoroughly enjoying the encounter, and still I was alone with her, and I had never been this close to a grizzly bear in my life, only black bear. It was very exciting. I felt safe, by the way. After her look, she disappeared, and I wondered if she was sitting in the water or fishing in the river or something. Another car stopped, and the passenger asked what was up, and I said, I think there's a grizzly bear down in the river. He said, can you see it? And I said, nah, not really. And they took a quick look and then went on. I was alone. Good. In a short time, it seemed forever, she crawled up the steep bank on the opposite side. Sure enough, she had been sitting in the stream and was wet from the waist down. It looked like she was wearing a pair of wet, dripping pants. The climb brought her right back up to my level, and as soon as I had a clear shot, I reset the autofocus. I love autofocus. How about Todd? Todd knows about that. I love autofocus, and started snapping away. Fortunately, the lens I happened to have on was perfect for the distance I was at. She stopped and looked back. You know, it sounds odd, but it appeared that she was posing. She would walk and stop, look around, look up, turn back and look at me, step up on a log, turn around, look at me. I snapped the shutter 12 times with each pose and took advantage of every position. I felt that it had been maybe a prearranged encounter, and maybe that explained all the mysterious distractions of the morning before. So Miss Grizz across the way seemed to sense it was time to be going and headed on up the hills into the scrub. She had moved in and out of sight for a while and was gone. The last time I saw her, she stopped and looked back at me again. She seemed to be looking into me. I thanked her for the time and the pictures she had allowed. So back in the truck, introspection was at the front of my mind. It had been a morning of listening to my inner voice and being in the moment with each click of my shutter. The reward, an early morning misty face wash, an entertaining and enlightening visit with a raven, a refreshing walk on the lip of a deep, narrow gorge, and some communion alone with a grizzly bear. That day was followed by a full week of photographing wildlife, mountainscapes, camping, hiking, waterfalls, but no caribou. And I saw several other people, and they had had the same experience too when it came to caribou. And most of them were there for the caribou also. So that's a story that I like to celebrate, that I like thinking about, because it was a real celebration for me to be involved with that. And as I promised, I brought another story. Now, this one I don't think I've ever told any place before, although it's been published. And this one's just fun. It's about the earliest part of the relationship with Linda and I, who some of you knew Linda, I know. So Christmas was proving to be a little different for me. The changes started in the spring. See, Linda had found a cute cabin on a small mountain lake and decided it would be about the most perfect place to live. I came with the cabin. Of course, since I'd spent several years there and living in those woods, I also thought it was about the most perfect place to live, and now to share with her. So how was Christmas going to be different? Well, in one way, the house was being decorated. I had always decorated by writing Merry Xmas in the dust on the top of a surface, if I could find a clear one. Now things are hanging on the walls where now there's boughs hanging on the walls where things used to grow naturally. Then, of course, when I did my spring cleaning, which usually came in August, I'd put away the decorations, of course. We also have a Christmas tree. I'd always felt that a Christmas tree was rather redundant since there was a lot of vegetation around my place all the time in various stages of dying, sitting around gasping for water and air. But this year, there's a tree. However, it's not the tree that we planned on using. Originally, we had hiked in the hills up behind the cabin, and we saw several trees together that were small and looked tight and looked like most of them probably wouldn't reach maturity. So we decided that we'll come back and get one of those for our Christmas tree. So then one morning in mid-December, after some new powder fell, it was time to head out to get to the tree. We strapped on our snowshoes and took the old plastic torpedo sled that kind of looks like a big blue plate. And we headed up onto the hills. And being the youthful 50-somethings that we were way back then, when we got to the perfect sledding hill, of course, we had to try it. It was in just 2 runs, Linda got the award for going the fastest. That bright white hair of hers was blowing straight back. I got the award for going the farthest, since my diet changed in the spring when Linda moved in. Linda also got the award for doing the most damage to a tree, which became the one we weren't planning on using for Christmas. So I made a run, and then it was Linda's turn. She took off her snowshoes and put them under her on the sled for walking back up the hill. And she asked how to steer, and I said, it'll kind of go where you want it to go. Just follow my track. So then she started down the track I was on, now packed for faster sledding. A short way down, she left the course that I was on and started down the side of the hill. Now, this was a lot steeper and had lots of moguls. On the first mogul, gravity lost a battle to the sled, the snowshoes, and Linda. As she was flying over the terrain, I was quite impressed by her speed and immediately conceded the contest to her. Her speed was as impressive as her shrieks. However, I think if she had closed her mouth and those big dark brown eyes and tucked her hair in, she might have got even a little more speed. Anyway, about halfway down, a young Douglas fir was awakened from its winter dormancy by an airborne sled with a middle-aged lady flying over it and 2 snowshoes flying close behind. The snowshoes, from a tree's perspective, looked like a weird, distorted wings, making the whole scene look like a rather freakish angel on a plate swooping down at near cosmic speed, sounding something like a siren during a power surge. The poor tree took a direct hit and laid down, buried into the previous night's flurries. As the angel went over, one of the loose snowshoes stuck in the snow right next to it, looking like a strange tombstone. Linda stopped just as she was starting up the ravine on the other side. When I got down to her, the sled was still buried, as were her legs on the sled. When I looked at her, at first I thought she had lost her eyelids, but they slowly reemerged from deep in their sockets. She did suffer a little hypertension of vocal cords and some minor wind burns to her face, but she was fine. We climbed back up to the tree now, completely removed from its roots, and Linda insisted we could not cut down a second tree since this one was already down. So I looked around, and I was glad that she hadn't hit the tamarack a few feet away. Oh, you got it. Good. So we didn't put the tree in front of the bay window as we had planned so it could be admired from every side. We put it in the corner where the side that didn't have branches, some of them might still be flying, I'm not sure, couldn't be seen. Our Christmas day, we enjoyed our tree, the decorations, a big meal with family and friends, while listening to music of the season from a stereo sitting on a very clean surface as we celebrated the beginning of a new year. And I had a new memory of the angel on the top of the tree. Anyway, it's easy to celebrate when you have stories like that to tell, and I'm sure all of us do. I know we all do. But my talk title today was Celebrating All of Life. And so last summer, it became clear I needed to celebrate in a new way. While looking at some x-rays with my doctor, it was clear that I needed a new hip, a brand new hip. After years of hiking mountain trails and valleys and high ridges and thousands of miles of bicycling, sometimes 200 miles in a day, the hip needed some serious attention. I don't know if the walking and the bicycling had anything to do with it, but I can't help but wonder if it did. That and my questionable diet most of my life. But I also thought about all the wonderful stuff this hip had helped me do in my life. Besides the strenuous activities, it was there when I was standing on the porch with Linda the day we got married. You guys were there for that too. It was there the day that my stepdaughter, Anna, got married and I was dancing with her. It was there when I was dancing with my granddaughters several times, just for fun, one time right here. It held me and stood with me on the Brigadoon, the bridge over the River Doon in Ayr, Scotland. It strolled through the cemetery of my ancestral home of Hingham, England. It had helped me walk the steep cobblestone streets of Assisi, Italy, and in the St. Mark's Piazza in Venice on New Year's Eve with probably 1 million of our dearest friends. It helped me stand and move sometimes as I danced on stages and plays that I was acting in. While it may seem odd to celebrate the need for a major surgery, everything leading up to it does need celebrating. Therefore, the surgery needs celebrating also. So the week before Thanksgiving was time, and I met with Dr. Lucas Smith, who I think is a gifted surgeon. The procedure went well, and as did most of the recovery. In fact, really, the healing went so well that I thought all the warnings that had been given to me about taking it easy didn't apply to me. Then I was sitting, relaxing, watching a ball game on TV, and I stood up, and a sharp, screaming pain went through me that almost took me to my knees. When I finally got around to talking to Luke the Slasher Smith, he said, well, maybe it was too early to be driving your tractor and hauling wood around. Maybe it was too early to be out on the snow plow, plowing snow. Maybe it was too early to be removing the tree that was down on the road by your place by yourself. My friends and my family, they all said, you're not Superman. They said, why didn't you call for help? And they're right. In a minute, I could have had people there helping. But I didn't. But I also got a lot of love from my friends and my family. A lot of love. But not much sympathy on that one. The point was made, like being hit with a cosmic 2x4, that I needed a lot more rest and a lot less doing. It reminded me of the conversation I'd had with Crow several years ago to celebrate the whole journey. And from Bear to listen to that inner voice, that deep inner voice. Obviously, I needed more time with the leg up when under ice. So maybe reading, maybe listening to music, maybe just sitting and looking at the woods around my house. And that was all worth celebrating too. It really was. So I want to wrap this up real quick, I hope, with another short story. It's real short that I brought that is also one that I celebrated a great deal. And my hip was with me on this one too. I was sitting on an icy, snow-covered rock, feeling the energy from the core of the earth, which all of the rocks carry, next to a fast-flowing stream that was falling too steep for the water to freeze. As I studied the mist rising from the water, I thought I saw a form that seemed to be adding to the haze I was in. I sat quietly as it moved across in front of me, possibly on the other side of the fog altogether. Pretty soon it started toward me, moving and stopping, taking a step and stopping. Finally, a shape I recognized began to develop. It was a big bull elk. Taking a step or two, it browsed on an old leaf left on a piece of brush, and then it moved closer to the stream. I could see the breath from his nostrils as it joined the cloud over the stream. Then I noticed my breath was joining the cloud over the stream. The breath from elk and the breath from the stream and my breath was all creating one cloud. When this happened, I wanted to shout out, "What a perfect image. We are all one." But I didn't shout. It would have changed the whole scene, and elk needed to be there to browse and to have a little water. Stream needed to be there to take that mountain energy down into the valley. And I needed to be there to get the message from elk and stream. And I wanted it to last for as long as possible. So I celebrated it all by sitting in a cold, cloudy, sweet, serene silence. Thank you. Peace.
It's your song. I'd like to introduce Pamela Van Kirk, who's going to sing this next song. Yay. God bless the grass that grows through the crack. They roll the concrete over it, try keep it back. The concrete gets tired of what it has to do. It breaks and it buckles, and the grass grows through. And God bless the grass. God bless the truth that fights towards the sun. They roll the lies over it and think it is done. It moves through the ground and reaches for the air. If after a while it's growing everywhere. And God bless the grass. God bless the grass that breaks through coarse cement. It's green and it's tender and it's easily bent. But after a while, it lifts up its head. For the grass, it is living, and the stone is dead. Oh, God bless that's gentle and low. Its roots, they are deep, and its will is to grow. God bless the truth and the friend of the poor, and the wild grass growing at the poor man's door. God bless the grass. Oh, God bless the grass.
It's love offering time. Woohoo! If you're able to share of your financial blessings with the church, it is much appreciated. If this is your first time here, please know that we do not ask you to give, just simply be our guest. If you're watching online, you can contribute by clicking on the Give button in the website streaming window. Please join me in affirming our divine love statement. All together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I receive. So it is.
Okay, we're going to sing a song together. It's good. Give a little love, you give a little light, it comes back round and it feels alright. Oh, life is good. Oh, life is good. You give a little love, you give a little light, it comes back round and you feel alright. Oh, life is good. Oh, life is good. You give a little love, you give a little light, it comes back round and you feel alright. Oh, life is good. Oh, life is good. You give a little love, you give a little light, it comes back round and you feel alright. Oh, life is good. Oh, life is good. One more time. You give a little love, you give a little light, it comes back round and you feel alright. Oh, life is good. Oh, life is good. Oh, life is good.
If you'll join me in blessing these love offerings. Divine Spirit of all creation, thank you for these generous gifts that we've received. We know that they're important to doing the good work here at Unity that we seek to do. But we also want to thank you for all of the blessings that each individual shares with us that go beyond the financial. Because so many people here give of their time, give of their effort, their energy, and give of their love to help spread divine light in our community. And we are so grateful for that and so thankful for all the gifts given. And so it is. Amen.
Hello everybody, I'm Tracy and I'm the celebration assistant for today. We love that you are here on this wonderful Sunday. I would like to welcome anyone that's here for the first time. If we have any first timers, raise your hand and we have a welcome packet for you. Welcome. And over here, Geraldine. And also, those of you viewing online for the first time, we want to welcome you as well, so thank you for tuning in. I have the honor of introducing our fabulous musicians for today. We have Julie Croteau, Leanne Erilyn Moore, Pamela Van Kirk, and Dagan Williamson. Thank you so much. And I also want to give a special shout out to our ushers and greeters because they are here every week making sure everybody feels welcome and everybody gets directed and everything goes smoothly. So thank you, ushers and greeters, for all you do. At Unity, we believe in the power of prayer. If you have a prayer request for a situation in your life, for yourself or for someone else, we invite you to fill out a prayer request form and put it in one of our prayer vessels out in the hall. We will pray over it for a week, and then we send it on to Silent Unity, where they will pray over it for another month. We also have our prayer chaplains available, and they are available to pray with you after the service. We have 2 prayer chaplains today. Will you stand up so I can introduce you? There you go. All right, so one of them, I don't know who. Somebody will be in the nursery, one will be in the meditation room. Thank you so much, ladies. Okay, and then you might have noticed the announcements early on before the service started, but in case you missed them, I'm going to highlight a couple things that are going on here at Unity. We would love for you to join us in any ways that you can and just get involved with this community here. It's a great way to get to know other people. For a full review of what's happening, you can go to our website also, unitycenter.org. Reverend Amber Boren will lead the membership class today after the service for anyone who wishes to become a voting member prior to the annual meeting or anybody who just wants to learn more about Unity. You can also discover the transformative potential of your mind with our weekly study group called Power of the Mind. Guided by the belief that your focus dictates your reality, this class will teach you to harness your mental power to manifest and collaborate with the divine. Led by Sharon Campbell, the course draws inspiration from the works of Catherine Ponder, Louise Hay, Joseph Murray, and Florence Chauvel-Shin. This class is now offered on Saturdays at 2, and Wednesdays at 6. That's wonderful. We have a weekday that was added. So join Sharon too if you're able to make that. The transition team is posting upcoming guest speakers on the bulletin board in the hall. Featured next Sunday, February 2nd, we have Susie Hicks. And Valentine's Day evokes romance, and like Amber mentioned, she passed around that sign-up sheet. Even if you didn't sign up and you want to come, it'll be a wonderful opportunity on Valentine's Day here to celebrate love and all the different ways that love shows up in our lives. The festivities start at 7, and this delightful community event welcomes everyone, couples and singles. Please sign up. It's not too late. Okay, and then the annual meeting is scheduled for Sunday, February 16th, following the service. During this gathering, board officers will present a summary of the past year's achievements and activities. This meeting also allows active members to renew and approve the new bylaws and fiscal budget and to elect new candidates to the Board of Trustees. So that is all we have for announcements for now. Next, we will have the kids come on in and we'll sing the kids' song.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it
So today Sparrow was gone, but she had planned for our older kids, our tweens and our teens, to create a lesson over the last couple weeks to teach some of our younger kids. And so today was the first Sunday that our teens and tweens gave a lesson. And so I'm not sure who's going to speak on that. Kylan's going to talk about that.
All right. Today we talked about awareness and what it means to be self-aware and to pay attention to our surroundings and improve on ourselves in these ways. We also played a few games doing this, and we talked about the history of how back in the old days, we had to be aware, otherwise we wouldn't be safe, or we had to protect ourselves by being aware of our surroundings and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Nice. I'm really proud of you guys. That was awesome.
Hey, Amber, can you also announce or remind people about the Friendship Sunday next weekend?
Oh, yes. Next Sunday is our friendship potluck. So we invite you all to come out to our Sunday service to hear Susie Hicks speak, and then we'll enjoy some food in the friendship hall after. So come, join us. All right. Okay, kids, if you want to go back to your families. Nice job. Awesome.
Let me climb on there.
Okay.
Clown car.
Oh, I see a runner back there. If you'll all stand and please join me in our peace song. The prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen. Thank you for being here.